All right, the mayor's not here yet? Okay. Next up is public comment. As usual, please try to limit it to 2 minutes. If you have a group spokesperson would be fine. We'll start from, let's switch it up. We'll start from the right this time. Front row, right, behind the speaker. Who's coming across? Please state your name. I know you know the routine, but please state your name so she can get it down.
My name is Linda Chrisman. And I'm
Please step up to the microphone so everyone can hear you, okay?
My name is Linda Chrisman, and I'm president of Save Carbon County, which is an environmental group that focuses on Carbon County. And I know you are tired of hearing from us. And frankly, we would rather be home watching something on Netflix. Not that you're not entertaining, but one way to get rid of us is to hold a public hearing and make an up or down decision. We have a real concern that delaying this decision is going to be harmful because, well, for example, Mr. Kinnick is operating in the dark right now. He doesn't know whether you're going to approve the zoning change or not. At the same time, he's in negotiations with the county. If I were him, I would not settle with the county until I knew whether I had the zoning approval, because that will raise the value of his property. On the other hand, if the zoning change goes through, the county will not buy the property because that will quadruple the value, and they're not willing to do that. The other thing that is harmful in the delay is you have the public that is talking about this and concerned about this, and they need to have a chance to speak their mind and have you make a decision. There's no new information that you could get that would have an impact on this decision. So thank you very much, and thank you for your patience.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ciro Lopinto. I live on North Ave, 229 North Ave. I just have a couple notes so I could keep it brief. I remember, I think it was the first meeting, there was some talk that, oh, we would be lucky if he only built 12, if we allowed them to only build 9 or 12 houses, because he really could build this many if he wanted to. But I'd like to address that in the sense that regarding permitted uses, that if building is a permitted use, but there is an ordinance that says the sewage line has to be extended up to that place before that could be done, then I would say that the right to build really has some controls on it. So this variance really, to me, if you wanted to give him the right to build, then he should just follow the rules and extend the sewer line. I mean, there's all kinds of different uses, you know, conditional uses, non-conforming uses. The thing is that this is not a regulatory taking of his rights, that this zoning ordinance was in place before he bought the land. So there really is no argument about things like, are we creating a difficulty for him, or is it practical, or is it a hardship? Because that ordinance was in place first. So the fact that it's not a regulatory taking, the key word is regulations, and regulations are about protecting things commonly. And the standard process from, you know, I did look some things up today, would be going maybe to the planning board first, and they have a thing like maybe an application process, steps that you take, deadlines, things like that, and that this esteemed board is usually the last stop that they say yay or nay. So to start here just seems inappropriate at best. And one other point I'd like to make that is, you know, once again, like I said, if they make a variance for one piece of property, basically it is, you are significantly rezoning that area around the lake. Because once you give that permission to one person, you really have to give it to everybody. And So it really is a kind of a final word that you're giving about rezoning. And if we in Middle Carbon have a comprehensive plan, then you're also kind of going against that comprehensive plan by doing that. And everything that I was reading today, there was one key phrase that I kept coming across, and it said, when it talked about regulations and zonings and ordinances, it said that they're generally put in place for the health, safety, and general welfare of the public. So if that was the reason why it was done in the first place, therefore being in the best interest of the people, that I really think that negative impacts on drinking water is not really in the best interest of people. And there is a true non-compatibility. It is not compatible to change this ordinance for one person to impact the drinking water of thousands of people. And I'm one of the people that drink that water, and I just really, it seems to be against the, I'll read the phrase one more time, that these regulations are put in place for the health, safety, and general welfare of the public, not the general welfare of one person who bought a piece of land and now doesn't like the rules that he falls under after he bought the land. He knew that the rules before he bought the land. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Linda Baris, and I live at 97 North Avenue in Jim Thorpe. And also, I want to reiterate, which I have said before when I was here at the last meeting, that it says, once you open up this door, once you give this person who bought this land with a full knowledge of what the zoning was, and then if we give him permission to do this, then you've opened up the door for other people to come forward when they buy the land thinking, well, if he got permission to do this, if he was able to change the zone, why can't I? Well, you've set a precedent that you can't go back on. Once you've crossed that line, you've just opened up the door for anybody to come forward to try to change the rules and to do whatever it is that they want to do, even if it's against the better interests of the public, and which have come forward several times now. We've come several times to these meetings and spoken against this, that it would really severely impact our water. If the drinking water, if there's any issues with the septic, and there's always going to be an issue. That's just the nature of it. I work for a plumbing business, and it's a huge thing. So I'm really encouraging you to come to this decision soon, open up a hearing, whatever it is that we need to do to educate the public so we can get everyone's viewpoint on this and let people know how this is going to impact them. I've met a lot of people who have no idea that this is an issue, and we need to educate. Thank you.
Thank you. I can't see that from here.
It says, save the lake, act now.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Brandon Fogel. I'm a local business owner, also a member of Save Carbon County, but most importantly also a resident of the Heights. I live on South Ave. So again, my drinking water that would be impacted if these zoning changes were to go into place. I grew up in the pine swamps up on the mountain, so I also am very familiar with in-ground septic systems in wet areas. I know how that works. Any amount of water flow will cause leakage. And as somebody who lives in the Heights, I can tell you that the amount of water flow that comes off of Mount Pisgah is remarkable. I've seen several instances where I could easily take a boat down the road that runs behind the Opera House. And that's just the tip of that formation. Further back along it, you would see significantly more runoff. I don't think it'd be possible to run an in-ground septic system without some sort of leakage in that environment. That being said, it seems like a lot of the things that I was coming up to say have already been said, and I agree with everybody who's spoken before. I would just like to say that I am never in favor of developing the land around Mauch Chunk Lake to any degree. It seems very crazy to me to develop land around a municipal water source. Look at the reservoirs up on the mountain and how tightly those are controlled. We're kind of unique in that we already have some unfortunate development around it. I've heard some things like a very high percentage of our county is underdeveloped or undeveloped, and I say good. If we let developers decide what land gets developed, even in small amounts, eventually we will be living in Newark. That's not a fantasy, it's a mathematical certainty. The Carbon County voters just voted with around 82% approval to spend money in order to preserve undeveloped spaces. I'm not really sure when the last time I saw 80% of voters agree with anything was. This county and this town has a responsibility, a mandate, to protect its open space and its waterways. Just because Summit Hill developed their land and damaged the lake in doing so does not mean we should do the same. It just means that it's even more important that we protect the land that we're responsible for. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon.
Good evening. Joan Morican, 273 West Broadway, Chimthorpe, business owner, entrepreneur, and longtime resident. I also want to reinforce basically what everyone has said in terms of supporting no zoning changes for the Mauch-Chunk Lake Park. I think there are some things in life you don't get a do-over for, and I think this is one of our most valuable resources from an economic standpoint, as well as our daily sustenance of the place where our water comes from. And I also definitely want to point out, what has happened with Beltsville Dam. We're not there yet, but I do think it's critical that you do everything possible to keep that door closed to development. The great myth of Beltsville, it's all those city people and their dirty diapers. I mean, if you believe that, then Santa's coming down your chimney and giving you a gift tomorrow, because there is no way a couple dirty diapers in the sand is going to pollute the entire lake. And I think we all know where that pollution is coming from with Beltsville. It's the developments, the septic systems leaching down. And I just think here in Chimthorpe we can be much more responsible to our citizens, and we are looking to you as our elected officials to protect us and to protect our environment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Beth Hurley. I'm a resident of Kidder Township and a member of Save the Lake. Many of my comments have been already stated, but I have an interest in this particular rezoning question because I'm a parent. I have children. I am a resident of Carbon County. I am a member of the Chamber of Commerce, and I want to support viable development. I want to have development impact fees for our county so we can actually harness economic development impact fees. There are so many things that we should have a vision for. I think Ciro mentioned the capital improvement plan. I mean, that's a vision of where you want to go. And that vision should be something that we all share. It's something that we all have in common. So then, we're looking 5 years out or 10 years out, that vision actually comes to fruition, that we have money to support economic development, and that we're not concerned about a development that serves nobody except the developer. It has the potential to damage thousands of residents, their drinking water, people that come and enjoy Mauch-Chunk Lake. I mean, Mauch-Chunk Lake was so frequented last year that over Labor Day weekend, the county did an experiment to close it down to just county members. It's a really valuable resource, and it's not one that we really should be messing around with. We should leave it intact. I spent 30 years as a vice president in the energy industry. I went to a lot of town hall meetings like this. I listened to a lot of public comments. I know how important those comments are. And in regard to economic development, you want to do something that creates a vision for everybody. So what we're looking at from this zoning standpoint really has no economic vision associated with it at all. Being a member of the Chamber of Commerce, you want to stir economic excitement. Bring people to Carbon County, to Chimthorpe, because they want to be here, not because they want to see a lake destroyed or their natural resources misused. I was very happy to say thank you to the mayor. He's not here right now, but thank you anyway, because he supported us when we were all here in force, 100 of us out in this audience, talking about this development. And so we need you as the borough members to have a voice and to speak your voice and to speak to the future in this vision so that it's beneficial to all. Not just people from Jim Thorpe, but people from Carbon County in total. So I made a sign. I don't know if you can read it, but there was in 2022, the DEP reported that septic system failure was implicated in 202 miles of streams, and also implicated in 3,192 impacted lakes in the state of Pennsylvania. So don't think that it doesn't happen. And that's current data. Also, if a property is going to have a well and a septic, then you probably need to have 2 to 3 acres of land because the septic will fail. Eventually, the septic will have to be redeveloped, and it'll have to be extended somewhere else on that property. As I understand, this rezoning is intended for 1 acre lots.
No. No, the proposal was for 5 acre lots.
Per lot, 5 acre?
5 acres, and it's specifically so a second area would be available for.
Okay, well, that's wonderful. See, that's data that I did not have. I'm happy that you guys have that, because that's really critical information. I know that the developer did pass a percolation test last summer, but we also think it was done during a very dry period of the year. And so we're not really sure that we think that those test results might be biased, and it might be interesting to see if those percolation tests would pass during a more typical time period. So I guess I would implore upon you to think about that and maybe come back to us, or at least have a way for us to access that information. And last, I wanted to say the Center for Rural Pennsylvania found that 89% of our state's rural municipalities have not adopted property maintenance codes. Now, I know you have here in Jim Thorpe, and those property maintenance codes would be beneficial toward making sure those 5 acre lots meet your codes, but you've got to have inspectors to go out to do that. You've got to have teeth in your enforcement initiatives to make sure that if there are violations, that they're followed through and they're rectified. Now, that same study found that people that live in urban areas are 24% more likely to be approved, to spend money on home improvement. So what's interesting about that study is that a higher amount of lower quality housing makes it harder to attract businesses. And I know that at the end of the day, we want to, like I talked about, the vision, attracting businesses, having good, strong commerce, for Jim Thorpe, Carbon County. The kind of housing that you're talking about putting in, will it meet your property maintenance codes? Will it be owner occupied? Will it be seasonal? Will it be unoccupied? Will it be an Airbnb? And typically, those Airbnb type model homes do not maintain at the level that an owner occupied home, would be maintained. So again, I guess I would ask that question: do we know whether people are going to live in those homes, or if it's just going to be used for Airbnb? So I guess in conclusion, I would say, please, borough council members, speak up, speak out, speak against development that serves nobody but the developer and a few people. It adds nothing to Jim Thorpe or Carbon County. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Jerry Hoare, spelled H-O-A-R-E, from Hill Road, Jim Thorpe. Just a couple of questions. Again, concerning the special zoning district. Why wasn't the developer charged the required curative amendment fee?
I'll talk to the manager, but I believe because he didn't submit a curative amendment.
That's correct. He did not file a curative amendment. He simply requested that Borough Council consider an amendment to the ordinance similar to as has been done in the past.
But that is his option. That is one of his options.
Yeah,
So,
that
go ahead.
that is an
Next.
option.
Go ahead.
Then what is an example of a curative amendment? What is a, if that's not an amendment?
A curative amendment, there is a claim that there is something faulty with your ordinance, and that is a process that an applicant can choose to go through in order to cure the fault of the ordinance and correct it. There's also variances that could have been requested, could have been just a lawsuit in court that took place. He chose just to make the request to Borough Council. Borough Council did it not too many years ago for the agritourism inclusion into the zoning ordinance. A resident requested Borough Council consider adding that to the ordinance. Same manner, same process, that's what council did, without filing a curative amendment.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? Yep.
Why did he come right to council? Why didn't he go to zoning like everyone else?
I think the
It-
manager
It
just
doesn't
explained
go
that.
to zoning. He was before the planning commission, he filed his plan before the planning commission. But the zoning hearing board doesn't hear something like this. They would hear a variance. But this request and even a curative amendment goes before Borough Council.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
But then, so he was turned down at planning? And is that?
No,
why he-
his plan is still ongoing in planning.
In Jim Thorpe planning?
Yes, yes. He hasn't submitted any updates to his plan that I'm aware of. He has extended the deadlines that the borough needs to make decisions on it, but his plan is still in front of the Planning Commission at this time. And in fact, I think we have the time extension to accept again tonight for those plans.
Okay, thank you.
And again, correct me, that's another one of his options, correct? He could request a.
I can't hear you.
That would be another one of his options to request a variance, correct? He has a cumulative amendment.
He could request a variance.
Okay, thank you. If the planning commission denies the developer his change in the zoning district, or what he wants up there, will the council, what will the council do? Will the council honor the planning commission?
The Planning Commission does make recommendations to Borough Council, and I believe the recommendation is to not change the zoning ordinance. I can't tell you what council will do. There's 7 individuals, so you would have to ask them directly.
Okay, I'm asking.
But they do get all that information. They get the Jim Thorpe Planning Commission recommendation, County Planning Commission recommendation also.
Thank you. All right, then I'm asking, can council tell me what you would do?
I don't think that, I think that would be a question for when we actually vote on it, when all the facts are in. So I don't know if that's fair to ask the council right now until all the facts are in. Plus, in addition to that, as we've heard or think, there's some negotiations going on to purchase this property, so.
But I believe this will be on the agenda for council to take action next week, correct? So one way or another, you will know how council is going to proceed next week. Hopefully.
And how about a public hearing?
Pardon me?
How about a public hearing on the issue?
That's what it's on the agenda for
Okay.
council to schedule and advertise for a public hearing. We have to go through the process. Council can't do that, or couldn't do that, without having the recommendation from the 2 planning commissions. Well, there is a timeline. They could have did it because it took a little bit longer, but council didn't want to do that. They wanted to hear the recommendations from the planning commissions. So now we have them both, and they can take that next step if that's what they choose to do.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you. Wait.
Hi. Sharon Lopinto, 229 North Ave. I'm curious when I hear these discussions if anyone in this room has considered putting more protections on the lake. I understand it was built initially to be water control to save flooding in town, and that's a really worthy cause. But to me, the quality of the water wasn't really the issue then. That was about preserving life and protecting real estate. But now the water is being used, consumed, not just by animals, but by humans, and it's part of our plan for the west side of our town. It seems to me that this would be a time to consider more protection, because water, as I'm sure you're all aware, is becoming less available, potable water. I mean, just look to Ohio. You know, it happens. Nobody thinks that's going to happen here. But if you don't have an awareness of the world around you and think about several generations forward and hope that you teach those people to also think not just of themselves or expedience for money, but for the lives of the people who live here, I would really love to see greater protection, not in any way diminished protection. Thank you very much.
Carol Etheridge, Mahoning Township. Two quick questions. Earlier it was mentioned that we are going to be considering the Canic preliminary major subdivision plans time extension waiver to May 31st, 2023. Can someone please explain the impact of the time extension?
The time extension would simply give him more time before his the current expiration of his submission.
Okay, and what is the current time? Sorry.
The manner in which the submittals work is the timeline is placed upon the borough. So the borough must make a decision within, I think it's 120 days or 90 days. Which is it, Louis? Okay. So at times when it's not just a simple subdivision, as you can see, it will go beyond that time period. The borough doesn't get to extend that. The applicants have to grant the extension to the borough. Okay, so it's really, it's beneficial for the borough. We don't get in trouble for pushing out the time without making a decision.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
What? Correct. Could
Okay,
be
perfect.
considered deemed approval.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, we're back to the second row, over on the right. Coming across from the right, second row.
I'm sorry, I have a question. Doesn't public comment have to be published in advance, like, 30 days in advance?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the beginning of it.
Well, I'm sorry, Beth Hurley from Kidder Township, but in our township, when we go out for public comment, we have to post that 30 days prior to that hearing. So you said
Public comment or public hearing, do you mean?
public hearing, we have to notify 30 days in advance that we're going to be hosting the public
Correct.
hearing?
Correct.
So when is the public hearing for this
They-
decision, and have
They haven't done that yet. That's
Okay,
what's
so
on
I-
for next week.
I'm sorry.
It's
What's
for
the-
next week, council they can consider whether or not they want to take a vote to schedule and advertise a public hearing.
Got you. That
Okay.
was the clarification.
Okay, are we on the second row left side? Okay, then we're back to the third row. I can't see beyond the second row, so you're going to have to help me back there.
Good evening, James Whitehead, 802 Twin Crest Drive, Lehighton, PA, Carbon County resident. We spoke earlier. I guess, just a question, this developer has had plans submitted to be looked at, and I'm wondering I heard 5 acres tonight. He has 50-some acres to develop. Has he had it surveyed into lots? Do you have an approved plan? I mean, what is he asking to be approved if he doesn't know what he's doing yet, or how many houses he's going to build? The words are out there that he may put 60 homes in if he brings city sewer out. The only comment I've heard from any council member so far is it seems you're concerned about being sued by this person. Are we not concerned about the quality of our area? You don't have to look far to see what out at Lake Harmony, the development they had. Jack Halen's put sewage systems or sewers in for city sewer and a sewage treatment plant because of the issues with the lake. We can't go backwards, but let's make a statement for the future here and protect this. Once somebody puts houses in there, he talks about his family living there. What's to stop Airbnb? You read in the paper almost every other week when it's the season for it, 20, 30 people partying at a house. Homes aren't supposed to. Septic systems are supposed to be limited to so many people using that facility per week, per day, per month, per year. When you have parties at a house, unless they're bringing job Johnnies out there, how are these septic tanks going to hold if they're Airbnb rentals out there, which they're all around us? How do we control that? Once the cat's out of the bag, who has the power to stop this? I thank you for your time.
All right, well, before you sit down, I would say, first off, we're not afraid of being sued, but the developer has some options that he can do. His first option was to submit and request if we were willing to change the ordinance. His second option is to submit a curative amendment, as we just discussed previously. His third option is to submit a zoning variance. His fourth option would be to sue us. So to correct your statement, we're not afraid that we're going to be sued. What we're explaining is these are his options as a developer. Those are his options, whether we like them or not. Those are his options. And speaking of the property, he has one parcel that's 47.65 acres. That's the one that the county's considering purchasing. And then he has another one, which is 1305 acres, which is the one that he's looking to keep.
Closest to Jim Thorpe it is.
Right, closest
And
to Jim Thorpe.
And the steepest embankment, because as you go to Summit Hill, it's a flatter property, if you've walked the property at all. Have any one of you guys walked out, or ladies, walked the property?
I have not personally walked it. I can't speak for the rest of them. I can't say that, no.
And what I've heard tonight is the ordinance or the regulations that are in place may have been done incorrectly. Who does that fall upon? The solicitor? Who wrote those ordinances to protect the lake or that area against on-lot septic systems? He's questioning the legality of it, I think I heard tonight.
The question.
He simply requested that Borough Council consider an amendment. He didn't say that, anything about the legality of the ordinance. I spoke to that as in relation to a curative amendment. That's generally why they use a curative amendment process.
To find something incorrect in it?
No, because they have found something incorrect. They feel that the ordinance has a fault in it.
I'm hearing what you're saying.
Okay,
So
but he didn't take that route. He only asked council to consider the amendment. So he has, at least he has not said anything to me that he found fault in the ordinance.
Okay, not real clear on that one. Thank you again for your time. I hope you look beyond, like some people said tonight, Look at what's going on in Arizona, that tanker trucks have to drive 3 to 4 hours to buy water to supply homes with. Water is precious. Please keep it clean. Thank you.
Thank you. I just would point out that I think everybody wants to keep the area green and full of trees, but the developer does have certain rights that he could, and methods that he can use. So the reason that this is taking so long is not because, you know, we're necessarily against it. It's because we're trying to cover all the bases. And it's not easy. I can just tell you it's not easy. If you think government moves quickly, it doesn't. So he gets the chance to exhaust all his opportunities. We try to research it and make sure that we're up to speed on everything. So that's what's happening. And in the background, you have the county reaching out to possibly purchase the land. So please don't think that we're disregarding your comments. We're not. We're just trying to get through this thing and get all the facts out there.
I would just like to add that no one really said anything about keeping trees green. I think we're talking about keeping drinking water for humans drinkable, not so one person doesn't benefit and thousands of people
Right.
don't.
The correlation is
Right.
once you take the trees off the property, then it's
No,
subject to.
it's not about the trees. It is
Yeah, okay.
definitely about the fecal matter entering the drinking water and the sediment.
And the
entering
runoff from the
drinking
property,
water,
sir.
Not
Thank
the
you.
leaves from the trees.
All right, any other, do we have any other comments? No, I'm sorry. No, we've allowed a lot of leeway here. People have gotten up a couple times.
1490 Broadview Drive. Let's face it, everybody can threaten to sue against everything. Otherwise, why are we even going to have any zoning or any kind of structure in a municipality? You know, if people continue to come in and threaten to sue, and we're going to change them because of that, that's ridiculous. Why would you even have them? This ordinance, you know, totally complies with municipal planning code. And also, I sent the letters on the Planning Commission recommendation is that we strongly recommend against reducing this protective buffer. And I quoted right out of the municipal planning code that, yeah, a property owner does have a right to develop his property. However, you can't develop the property if it's injurious to other people. And that's exactly what this is. I'm glad to see that we are going to finally bring this to some kind of a vote next week. And I do hope that everybody votes against it, or that it doesn't get a second to even get a vote. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you.